black woman was cleaning the floor at a luxury party. The millionaire thought she was beginning. The marble floors of the skylight tower gleamed under the chandeliers, each crystal reflecting a constellation of light. To the wealthy guests of the Orion Gala, the floor was just another detail in their extravagant night. But for Naomi Carter, the woman scrubbing away at a champagne spill near the bar, the floor was her battlefield. At 32, Naomi had grown used to being invisible in places like this. Her dark skin, plain uniform, and rubber gloves marked her as part of the background, a necessary figure to keep the illusion of perfection intact. Guests swirled past her in gowns that cost more than she made in a year, sipping on drinks she couldn't afford to smell, let alone taste. Still, she moved with quiet dignity. Naomi wasn't ashamed of honest work, but there was a fire in her heart, one that had been there since her father used to tell her stories about the stars and how humans were destined to expand beyond Earth. She had studied astrophysics in college, but life hadn't been kind. When her mother grew ill, Naomi had left her doctoral program to take care of her. 1 year of missed research became 2, and then the funding disappeared. Bills piled up and dreams fell apart. So here she was, scrubbing champagne from imported marble, while billionaires toasted their visionary futures. Naomi straightened her back for a moment, resting on her heels. That was when she noticed him. Across the room stood Damien Vera, the man of the hour. A tech tycoon worth more than small countries, Damien had built his empire on spacefaring technology. Quantum engines, orbital habitats, even rumored interstellar prototypes. He was young, striking, and wore confidence like a second skin. And he was watching her. Naomi quickly bent her head again, embarrassed. The last thing she needed was to get fired for looking distracted. Middle. The gala continued around her, a swirl of laughter, music, and clinking glasses. But Naomi felt Damien's gaze follow her as she worked. When she moved to wipe down another spill near the dessert table, his voice cut through the din. "You missed a spot." The words carried just enough amusement to make nearby guests chuckle. Naomi flushed hot with humiliation. She scrubbed harder, refusing to look up, but Damien wasn't done. He crouched down, right beside her, his tailored suit brushing against the floor. "Tell me something," he said in a low voice only she could hear. "Why does someone like you, someone who doesn't look defeated, end up here?" Naomi blinked at him, startled. "Sir, I'm just doing my job." Damien tilted his head, studying her face. "No, you're not just anything. What's your story?" She hesitated. Years of invisibility had taught her not to share. But something about his tone, genuine curiosity behind the arrogance, loosened her tongue. "I studied astrophysics," Naomi said softly, "but I left the program. Family came first. Now," she gestured at the mop bucket, "this pays the rent." For a moment, Damien's confident mask slipped, his eyes sharpened with interest. "An astrophysicist," he murmured, "cleaning floors at my gala." He straightened and extended a hand. "Come with me?" Naomi recoiled. "I can't. I'll get fired." "You won't," Damien said, his voice carrying the unshakable authority of a man used to controlling every room he entered. Against her better judgment, Naomi allowed him to lead her away. Whispers trailed after them. Guests craned their necks, curious why the billionaire host was escorting a janitor through the crowd. He brought her to a private lounge upstairs. The walls were lined with star maps, projections of colonies, prototypes of sleek spacecraft models. "This," Damien said, gesturing to the room, "is my true party. The one downstairs is for investors and vultures. But here is where vision matters." Naomi couldn't stop her eyes from roaming across the blueprints. She recognized equations etched on the digital boards, propulsion designs she had once studied, some even theorized in her unfinished research. "You understand this," Damien said, watching her face light up. She nodded slowly. "That's a phase shift drive equation. But you've accounted for gravitational turbulence in a way I've never seen." "You?" She stopped, realizing she was speaking too freely. Damien's lips curved into a smile. "Exactly. You see it. Do you know how many of my so-called scientists at the company don't?" Naomi bit her lip. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying," Damien said, leaning closer, "I mistook you for someone ordinary. But you're not. And I don't believe in coincidences. I think you're exactly where you need to be." Before Naomi could respond, alarms blared. The room's glass windows lit up with flashing red. Damien's personal AI chimed. "Unauthorized breach detected in orbital array." Quantum engine compromised. Naomi's blood ran cold. Orbital arrays? That meant satellites, possibly entire colonies at risk. Damien snapped into command mode. Divert all feeds. Get me system control. The AI responded. Encryption locked. External override in progress. Damn it. Damien cursed. Then he turned to Naomi. Do you understand encryption lattice fields? Naomi's mind raced. Yes. If they're using a resonance override, you need a counterfrequency. But you'll need someone who can calculate in real time. Most systems can't predict quantum turbulence. Damien's gaze locked with hers. Then you'd better sit down. The rising crisis. Within minutes, Naomi was at Damien's hollow terminal, her hands flying across the keys. Streams of data poured in, signal frequencies, failed firewall attempts, pressure readings from orbit. Whoever was attacking the system knew what they were doing. Naomi narrowed her eyes. This isn't just sabotage. This is coordinated. They're targeting your prototype engine. Damien's jaw tightened. Competitors, they've been circling like sharks. If they hijack the engine, they could weaponize it. Naomi finished grimly. Hours ago, she had been scrubbing floors. Now, she was the only barrier between humanity's greatest leap and its potential downfall. Her brain burned with calculations, old instincts reawakening. She mapped interference fields, adjusted harmonic counters, and bypassed security nodes. Damien hovered nearby, issuing orders to his staff, but never once doubted her. Finally, Naomi slammed the command key. Got it. Counterfrequency engaged. The alarm shifted from red to amber, then faded to green. The AI chimed. Intrusion neutralized. Naomi slumped back, exhausted. Damien let out a long breath. Then he laughed. Rich, genuine. Do you realize what you just did? You saved my company. You saved a colony. Hell, you might have saved half the solar system. Naomi blinked at him, still catching her breath. I just did what I had to. Damien's eyes softened. No, you did what no one else could. Ending. The next morning, the story exploded across media channels. Not the gala, not the dresses, not the champagne, but the janitor who had stopped a corporate espionage attempt. Of course, they didn't know the full truth. Damien had shielded her from exposure. But whispers circulated. And when Damien called a press conference 2 days later, the whispers turned into a roar. Standing beside him on stage, Naomi felt the heat of 1,000 cameras. This, Damien announced, is Naomi Carter. The world will want to call her a janitor, but she's far more than that. She's a scientist, a visionary, and the reason you're all safe today. I thought she was here to clean my floors. Turns out, she's here to help clean the stars for humanity's future. The crowd erupted in applause. Naomi's cheeks burned, but for the first time in years, her heart swelled with pride. After the conference, Damien offered her something she never expected, a position at his company, leading a new research division. Naomi stared at the contract. Why me? Damien smiled. Because I don't make the mistake of underestimating brilliance twice. Her eyes watered. She thought of her father, of the dreams she had buried under bills and hospital visits. Maybe, just maybe, this was her second chance. Naomi signed. Years later, when humanity launched its first starship beyond the solar system, Naomi Carter's name was etched onto its hull, not as a janitor, not as an afterthought, but as a scientist who carried her people to the stars. And all because one night, a millionaire thought she was just cleaning the floor.